Hey you guys, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 20. Wow, usually my video is up by this time, but I'm actually filming it at this time because I'm shameful. But we're on Vlogmas Day 20, and it's getting close to the wire, and I still haven't filmed those wrap-ups I said I was going to from like the beginning of the year, so I could let you guys know the books that I read because I'm shameful again. Wow. Let's move on. Today we're going to discuss, this is a we discuss video, cover buying versus reading the plot / synopsis kind of whole thing. I totally thought that I'd discussed this on my channel before, but when I was looking through like my old videos and stuff, I didn't. That was probably one of those videos I was thinking about doing in my head, but never quite got to the filming part. Yeah, that's a thing sometimes. But yeah, so let's go on to like what I think the true definition of cover buying is. And that is buying a book, not knowing anything about it, just buying it because you love the cover. That's basically it. Now there is some cover buy-isms, I guess you could say, and maybe I've done them. But like the number one buy-ism, I guess, that is closely related to cover buying for me is like buying a book based solely on the cover, even though you know you probably won't like that book. Like you're just gonna buy it. Like you kind of vaguely heard of it, but you love that cover, so you gonna buy that book. I would say I have not done either of these two things. Like I couldn't imagine buying a book based solely on the cover without having read the synopsis or the plot line. Like for me, that's a thing. Like ever since I was a kid, I've always read the plot synopsis or the summary or anything that there was. Like literally back in the day, they don't do it as much anymore. Like in these days, you get a book, you go open to the copyright page, and you don't see anything right there besides like the copyright stuff, and you're probably looking at me like, yeah, ke-sha, why? Because this is an older book, and I'm going to cover it. They always used to have on the copyright page like a summary type thing right there. See, and I would always read it. Like if I couldn't find, like even if I could find it, sometimes they wouldn't have this part right here. Like I don't know why. It would just be like all accolades and stuff, and like only happen occasionally, or sometimes maybe the plot just doesn't tell you enough. You know how they do that, like it intrigues you but it really doesn't get into the meat of things. Then I would read that summary, and sometimes it would like clarify for me, and I just couldn't imagine like getting a book and reading everything all over just to see. But it wasn't just because I needed to know the plot and the summary. It's just, you know, back then they would also inside the book put the whole list of books, which they do sort of now, but not, I feel like, all the time as much. They would tell you each book that is in the series, and that way I could know if a book was part of a series or not, you know, before Goodreads and all that stuff. This is how I made sure not to be started in the books like that's the 5th in a series or something. But they didn't, again, it didn't have as much series back then. I feel like people knew just in that book. Okay, but moving on, different subjects. I made like some discussion points that I make sure I want to get, but like also I know some people who have said that they would not buy a cover if it was ugly, and I just like didn't get that. Like you think you're going to be interested in a book, but like you're not going to buy it because you didn't like the cover. Have you guys ever done this? Like I thought some covers were ugly, believe me. But it, like if it sounded good, I would still read it. Like that's the point of the book. It doesn't matter on the outside, it matters what's on the pages and stuff. Like I would even say like this wasn't the best cover I've ever seen in my life, you guys, but I love this book. Okay, like that's not gonna stop me from reading the book. Okay, like what that cover got to do with anything? Yeah, so that's me. Like if I had a choice, like I feel like if I had a choice, and I feel like some people would choose opposite for me. There's a beautiful book cover, there's an ugly book cover, but you know that you're gonna love that book, but you know nothing about this book, or hey, you even know you're not gonna like this book. I'm gonna pick the one I know I'm gonna like, or think I'm gonna like, because at least there's a chance. I'm not saying there's a chance that I wouldn't like it unless it really depended on the subject, but this one I know I would pick it. But moving on from that point and basing things, I feel like also when I was younger, you know, buying a book like wasn't like an often occurrence. So book buying, like cover buying, wasn't like a thing that even crossed my mind. And even when I got older and I would be able to pick out more books by myself and look at them and go through Barnes and Nobles, it's like you have limited money, okay? Like I ain't gonna buy you because just because you're beautiful. Like I spent my whole time learning. I want to read the book and I want to hopefully enjoy the book, and I'm not just gonna buy you because of the cover. And I felt maybe that is probably part of my mindset when it comes to like cover buying and those definitions. Again, if you guys have a different definition of cover buying, let me know. Then again, also as you get older, sometimes you get a little bit money, and maybe I've done some of these cover buying isms things, and what I will talk to you guys about is kind of getting in that subject of buying multiple copies of books. So in some cases, like a couple of months ago, I bought Shadow of the Wind by Kalash Rio Zafran, but I didn't get it out, the other copy I own, but I do own the Penguin Drop Cap edition, which is nice, you guys. But I bought this one. This one was like 10 cents, and I bought it because this one would be much easier to carry around, and if something happened to it, I probably wouldn't care as much because the other copy was kind of expensive, and you know, I still really want to read this book series though. But it's just funny because is that like me slightly doing like a cover buyism type thing? I didn't buy this because of the cover. The other one though, that's why I picked that copy instead of getting like a copy like this. But you know. But I feel like when it comes to classics especially, I tend to do what is more a copy buying ism. I will research all the copies that they have on Amazon. I will see all the copies that they have on Book Depository, and then I will pick which copy that I want the most. Because even if I end up hating a book sometimes, maybe I'll keep it because of the cover. I have like 1 or 2 books on my shelf that I'm just like, nah, but you know, I didn't like it all that much. But the cover though, I know it's shameful. It's technically not cover buying, but it's shameful. And I'm not just like buying random classics. I'm just like wanting to read that classic, and that's what I do because I feel like when there's like multiple copies of a book, I'm just like, okay, let's see which one I'm gonna get, because of course I want the one I want. Like Peter Pan, I bought the Puff and Chalk edition. I love Peter Pan, which wasn't really a surprise, and then I ended up buying the illustrated interactive edition sometime later, and there's another copy of Peter Pan I'm eyeing, but I'm okay with that because I've already read it, and now I'm just looking at covers I like of it, and I'm like, ooh, I would like that one, yes please. So I feel fine with it, especially if I've already read it. If I've already read it, it's like free game. But is that a cover buying? You guys let me know. And then of course there's a whole box set thing. Like I recently bought some box sets, The Enchanted and stuff like that, and like beautiful covers, and like, but then again I feel like this is also like that eBay thing that I want to talk about, which is like I used to mass buy on eBay, and so say they had like 10 books that they're selling all together, but I've only wanted 3 of those books, then I would buy it because it was cheaper to get those 3 books than buy them separately. But then I have all these extra books as well, and sometimes it'd be 10 or 20. I think one time I bought some with like 30 books in the thing. But what I do is when I get it, I would go through it and discard the ones that I didn't want at all, and then keep some of the ones that I was interested in. And so that's not really cover buying, but it is kind of buying books like sight unseen a little bit. But I did buy the books that I wanted to. Kind of like sometimes in a classic box set you'll get like a mix of books that I'm all interested in, but maybe I wouldn't have necessarily bought it just specifically for that one book. Like maybe not, but is that cover buying? No, it's just buying books that you want, being uncertain a little bit. But hey, let's see. Oh yeah, we discussed that. Shamefulness. I will say though, the most shameful I've ever been with my eBay habit, because I bought both of these books on eBay, and it goes again to buying multiple copies of something, but usually I try to keep buying multiple copies of books that I've read. In this case, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna replace it. But then once I got it in, I was like, I don't know which one. I'm just gonna keep them both, and it's just gonna be shameful. And I still have them if you guys want to see, and I still haven't read them. It's Wired, Skinned, and Crash by Robin Wasserman. I believe Skinned is first though, then Crash, and then Wired. And I really do love these covers, and of course they were in hardcover and they were cheap on eBay, and I found them and I'm like, ooh yes, I'm lucky. So I got them. But then I saw some other books by Robin Wasserman maybe a couple of years later or something, and it was the Cold Awakening trilogy, and you have Frozen, and you have Shattered, and you have Torn. Look at that, you guys, look. And then they create this like really nice picture right here. It's really hard to hold these up in a nice way where you can see all the pictures. But this is what it kind of looks like. And you guys, this series is the whole same as the other series. Now I did my research because it sounded so familiar, and I was like, I already own these, but I bought them again because I really love these covers, and it was the closest things to cover buying I ever did. Now I did it with the original intent to like get rid of the other ones, but then I was like, I can't get rid of those. What if I love the series so much, like it's not just a good series that I think I'm gonna love but never read again, but what if I'm gonna not only reread it but need multiple copies of it? And that is my thought process. Now I still haven't read the series, but I have read the synopsis from time to time, and I still am like, oh yeah, I'm gonna love this. I haven't heard much anything, but now I'm kind of scared because in my head I've hyped it up, but I haven't heard much other people talk about it. I'm gonna read them sometime soon, but I guess that's the closest thing I've come to cover buying. But I've read the synopsis, so you guys let me know what your definition of cover buying is. If you cover buy, or if you're not, what kind of reasons would get you to cover buy. Do you think you'll read the books that you are going to cover buy? Because I know some people do and maybe some people don't. I can imagine, I think basically cover buying is kind of going and like with the original definition of going into a book blind. Like, you'll just buy it and you'll read it and you see if you like it or not. But I already have a 50-50 on reading the synopsis as it is. I don't need to buy it and just be that shocked or surprised. So you guys let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.